I am here. I had something particular I was going to work on today, and I'm just not in the mindset for it. So I thought that maybe it would be fun to film my Q&A video. On Instagram, I put out a thing for people to ask me questions. I did not get that many, but I did get some. And I don't remember who wrote each one because I did it through the question thing that like expires after 24 hours. So there were some of them that I had not like written down, and I just had to like try to remember what the questions were after they were gone. So anyway, I hope that I'm getting to all of them, and yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so some of these are really funny, like, how do you feel about ferrets? I like ferrets. I have not really gotten to interact with them. I've like seen them at pet stores before and like tried to pet them. But I did, as like a first grader, have this little journal that it was a photo of a white ferret's face, like surrounded by pink flowers. And I just used to stare at it in class and just look at how adorable it was. So yes, I like ferrets. What is my favorite kind of gourmet popcorn? And I actually do love gourmet popcorn. I love caramel corn or caramel corn. I love that. And I'm really trying to cut back on dairy. I'm already vegetarian, but I'm trying to like not purchase any milk products. And so I would say cheese popcorn, but I'm trying to like not do that. But I mean, is it even cheese? I don't know. So anyway, I like it all. My husband's family, typically from one of their family members, gets like this big tub of it at Christmas time, and it's like assorted. Oh, I could eat it, the whole thing, myself. Another question is, have you always had a rabbit? The answer is no. And I currently do not have a rabbit because, well, Pocket passed away a little over a month ago. But I did not have her for a while before that because we moved to Hawaii. And when you're flying to Hawaii, they don't let your rabbit be in the cabin with you. And I wasn't going to risk having her in like the cargo area. She had a really sensitive stomach and just, she hated car rides. I just thought it was a bad idea. So she went to live with my brother-in-law, but when we moved back to Ohio, I got to spend a lot of time with her, and it was great. So, and I did not grow up with rabbit. I have had 2 dogs growing up. One of them lived to be 17. He just died last year. And I had some outdoor cats for a little bit. One of them got killed by a repairman that came to the house. It was just awful. So he didn't do it on purpose, but it was bad. So, and it's just better to have cats inside. But at the time, I really wanted these kittens. My whole family is allergic, so they were outdoor cats. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't have a rabbit until Pocket, and that was when I was 21. I wanted one so bad, and I had done a lot of research, and I used to spend my lunch break when I worked at the flower shop. My lunch break, I would sit in my car eating Taco Bell and looking at like bunny care and stuff. At the time, we were living in a house on my parents' property, and so I felt like I was gonna like really have to convince my dad that the rabbit wasn't gonna destroy everything, and she didn't. She was good. So yeah, so I wanted to make sure that I really knew my stuff. Let's see. When did you start illustrating? Well, I've been drawing since I can remember, and I'm from an artistic family. My mom does painting, and so do my sisters. They also do like interior design and things like that. So I've always been like surrounded by creativity, and my dad does some architectural kind of things. So it was a really natural thing for me to be doing, And one of my sisters went to fashion design school for a little bit when I was like, I'm a lot younger than my like siblings, so they're like in their mid to upper 30s, and I'm 25. So when she was in college, I was like 7 or 8, and she would come home on break and like show me what she had learned about drawing, fashion design, and so I would sit next to her and try to like copy what she was doing. So I guess that was like a time when I was really trying to like actually improve, and I wasn't really like just playing. But yeah, and then I went to college for art, and I was doing studio art, and my focus was printmaking and painting, but I also did a lot of sculpture, and I did ceramics and drawing. So I didn't really like figure out what I wanted to do with my art until a few years later. Although like when I was really little, I was like, I'm gonna be a children's book illustrator. That's what I wanted then, and then I kind of like went away from that. I don't know. I think like when you're 13, like there's something about like you don't think, oh, I want to draw children's book stuff. You think like, oh, I want to draw like a fashion design, thing. So I don't know. At least I think that's how I was feeling. So I actually almost went to school for music, for singing, which I decided did not bring me as much joy as art. So I did art instead, and I'm really glad. So I have not illustrated any books professionally. I do have some things, one thing published. It's one illustration in this book, Koala, published by Thames and Hudson, Australia. And it is the first illustration, like when the book actually starts, right here. They approached me a few years ago. They saw my work on Etsy and asked if I would want to be a part of it. And it was a charity thing, so I didn't get paid or anything, but I was happy because it was all going to benefit koala conservation, which is awesome because I do love animals. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I've been drawing for a long time, but really focusing more on like children's illustration for maybe like the past 2 years. It's what I've been kind of trying to aim towards. Let's see. Where do you get your inspiration? I get my inspiration from animals. I mean, my bunny pocket gave me so much inspiration because all of a sudden I was seeing like what personality rabbits can have. I had no idea, and her little isms were so funny. Pardon the siren. It's just part of life here. So, what am I saying? That threw me off. Oh, where do I get my inspiration? Also, my husband is like a wildlife biologist. He specializes in birds, bird conservation. It's a very general term for me to explain it with. But anyway, that's basically what he does. And so he has gotten me to appreciate animals a lot more than I used to, I think. So I'm inspired by that. Sorry, I thought I heard my door opening. That's creepy. And also sometimes I just I'll think about something that's going on in life, like whether it's like a funny thing that happened or something that I feel like people might relate to. Like I did my Netflix bunnies or my binge watching bunnies. Because I just thought, me and my husband sometimes will just sit and watch 2 seasons of The Office on a weekend. And I'm sure there's other people that do that too. So I like to do like little drawings I feel like are going to bring other people joy that they're going to relate to. And some things that I do, I don't think that people realize that there's like a story behind them, but I have an illustration of a raccoon holding a newspaper, and he's just kind of like looking over it. And I did that when I was feeling very irritated with something I read in the news. It was just, I was feeling very disillusioned. So I kind of captured that via the raccoon. So yeah, I think it's kind of funny to point out things about like people, about humanity, but using animals. Yeah. Let's see. Advice for illustrators and novice illustrators about Patreon. Um, Advice for illustrators and novice illustrators. Well, I mean, I guess uh, a big thing is just drawing all the time. Just draw and sketch, and don't worry about making a masterpiece all the time. I was just listening to Andy Pizza on Creative Pep Talk. It's a podcast, which is great. And he was talking about not aiming for like, this has to be the best thing I've ever done every time you sit down, because sometimes you can take out the fun of what you're doing. And I definitely think I tend to do that. And sometimes the things that I create that I was just having fun, and I was not like thinking, oh, this is going to go in my shop or this is going to be part of my portfolio, are the things that end up being the most well liked by people. So I would say just draw a lot in your sketchbook. Keep a sketchbook. And like, I used to think it was such a pain in college when my teachers would want me to draw every day. I just thought that was like ridiculous, but just do it. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm getting a sales call. Nope. So just make time for it. I mean, even if it's like a 2-minute little sketch, just be doing it. So I'd say that really helps you improve. Sometimes you can set like a goal for yourself. Like if you want to get better at people, you could try like drawing a person every day for a month or something like that. And what else? I would say one thing that I did that I've talked about in a previous video that was really helpful for finding my style was I started drawing with pen and not pencil, so I could see all of like my mistakes. So I would know what I needed to work on, but also I would see like the type of thing that my hand would naturally draw, which I think kind of helps me develop my style. And I also tried to not really be copying anyone. One thing I get a lot is that they're like, oh, you know, you're like a modern day Beatrix Potter, which is a huge compliment. But I always hope that no one thinks I'm trying to copy her, because I honestly am just doing watercolor bunnies, and I'm not like thinking, oh, I'm gonna make this like Beatrix Potter. And then people like usually compare it to that. I even had someone at a market see one of my like plush bunny characters, and they said, oh, look, it's Peter Rabbit. And I'm like, nope, not Peter Rabbit. So it's actually something I'm working on right now. I got to have an awesome conversation with a woman who has been in the children's book world for a long time, and I keep hearing that creak. I hate that. And she was talking about how, she even pointed out, she's like, you don't want to be pigeonholed as a very just soft Beatrix Potter style watercolor artist, which is true. I want to be known for my own kind of thing. So we were just talking about what I can work on to modernize my work a little bit, not to change my style at all, but just to maybe use colors that make it feel a little bit more current, or bring in a little bit more texture in some areas. And I think just like loosening up a little bit with what I'm doing. So so that was really encouraging and really exciting. That was good advice from her. So that's something I'm working on right now. And any other advice for you? If you want to be able to sell your art and make money from it, you just really need to do a lot of research about the best way to like set up a website and to be sharing your work. I definitely think when I first started out, I was following all of these business guru people for like handmade businesses, which I think a lot of their advice works for people who are selling like a handmade product, like knitted hats or jewelry, but it was not translating for my illustration, and I think it made me come across kind of salesman-y, which I think is a huge turnoff, and makes people like not trust you. And when I kind of let go of that and I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna make illustrations and talk to people, then it was like I just felt like the situation was so much better. I felt better about the way I was doing things, and I think people were connecting more with my work, which is really what I want. I'm not like some, I don't know, business monger. But anyway, so just be genuine with your audience as much as possible, and yeah, and just share your work. Oh, and about Patreon, I can't say that I'm an expert at it yet. I just started in July, and I do have a number of subscribers. It's awesome. I'm like loving it. And it just feels so great to have like little goodies to send to people each month. And I actually used someone else's like tiers as a model for mine, because I kept looking at different illustrators and what they were offering, and some of them I felt like there's no way I can do that. I don't have time for that, or that would cost so much money. And I finally found one that I felt like this seems really reasonable to me, and people are obviously like, you know, doing it, using it. So I just tweaked it a little bit to be a little bit more tailored to my work. And yeah, it's been going well so far. It's good. I'm enjoying it. And if you want to be my patron, you can click the link below. Let's see. Would you ever consider teaching an online course? Well, this is like a difficult question. So I think that there are a lot of things on YouTube that are like tutorials of like how to paint a flower, how to paint the ocean, things like that are really like teaching you a step-by-step thing. I think that those are really helpful in some circumstances, and I have used them before, but I think that it can cause you to just learn a style. Kind of like if you're watching, you learn from Bob Ross. You go to Hobby Lobby and they carry Bob Ross brushes, and you get those brushes and you learn, oh, I'm going to stipple a tree just like this. I'm going to paint clouds just like this. And yes, you come out with a painting that's like pretty good, but it looks like a Bob Ross painting. So I feel like there's so many educational things out there that what I'm trying to do with my YouTube channel is hopefully add to that what I feel like is maybe missing from like the educational things. So in a way, I feel like my YouTube channel is kind of like a course, because I'm sharing watercolor and types of materials I use, and you can watch videos of me painting and kind of see how I use it. I mean, the main tips I have, like, I feel like my knowledge, I don't know, could just be summed up in, like, with watercolor is, like, patience. So, like, let your layers dry in between, control the moisture, and you can paint your shadows first. That's what I was taught to do, but I don't know. I'm painting so differently now than I used to, so it's kind of hard. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in like a class from me, I would say check out my YouTube videos and watch and try to see what you can learn through observation. But I think it would be kind of hard for me to like do a full-fledged course, because I think it's just important for everyone to develop their own style. And I think as far as like painting basics, I think there's probably like a lot of videos. But nothing is better than just drawing and practicing, because the better you become at drawing, the better your paintings will be, if that's what you're working towards, is painting, because the drawing is the basis for your painting. So if your drawing looks bad, your painting's not going to end up looking how you want. What is your favorite brand of watercolor and pens? I love Winsor & Newton. I really love the inks, which come in like a little glass bottle. And they're like a condensed watercolor in liquid form versus like a tube, which I do like, but I tend to like the inks better because the color is so pure and vibrant and not like chalky. And then my favorite pens are Micron brand pens, and I usually use the .005 size. But I have 2 videos on my channel of art supplies that I use, and I show how I use them and talk about the benefits of them and like the bad things about them, so you should check those out. What is your ideal day? My ideal day is, probably kind of depends on what mood I'm in. but probably like getting up and walking around a park. It would be like cool kind of fallish weather. Walking around like a park or something, and then maybe spending some time at a coffee shop drawing, and then I don't know, have really good food fed to me. I used to like cooking, but now my kitchen is like super tiny and I just don't really enjoy it anymore. And maybe go to like a movie? I don't know. But yeah, basically I like cozy days. Cozy days are my favorite, where I just get to draw and my husband will be reading or something like that, and I love being outside. So something where I can like combine outdoors and cozy is perfect. I would probably say like going to like the Oregon coast where we used to live. That's like my ideal thing. And seeing the seals and being like bundled up in a sweater. That's like the best. Okay, how many places have you lived? This is the last question. I've lived in 3 states. I was born in Ohio and I lived here until I was 22. And then my husband got a job in Hawaii and we moved there, and that was awesome. We were on the Big Island, and actually our house was right by the national park that's like all cracked and caving in right now. So probably a good thing that we're not there right now. But that was just really, really amazing kind of experience to get to live in Hawaii, and also to get to live there in a situation where it wasn't like I was like just out of college, like, oh, I'm going to go live in Hawaii and I have nothing and I end up homeless, which is what happens with like a lot of people. So to actually be there for like a job for my husband was great. And that actually got me started on my illustration, was when we moved there, because I couldn't really find a job. And so I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do. I'm just going to do it. So yeah, so Hawaii was great. We were there for a little over a year. His position was a temporary one, and his next position that he got was in Oregon. So we moved there. I hated the town that we lived in Oregon, but I loved being in Oregon because you could drive like an hour to the ocean or an hour to the mountains, with snow and pine trees. So it was really, really cool place to live. I would actually love to live there again, but we will see what the future holds. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have more questions for me, I will try to compile them into a thing for another video. You can comment below with those, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.